Okay, welcome everybody. This rant is about Washington D.C.'s Chinatown, um, and it's pretty much a collection of images that I've compiled when I was doing a project. So pretty much when you walk into Chinatown, the one thing is the gate that you notice when you come in, and another notable area is where the Verizon Center is. Now, just because I'm really skeptical about Chinatown doesn't mean that there is nothing Chinese there. But if you'll notice from several of these photos already, what's in Chinese can be rather kind of disconcerting on discussing what is truly Chinese and what isn't. We just passed by the German Cultural Center. We have Spanish restaurants that have Chinese on them. Bed Bath and Beyond even has Chinese adorning its signs. Um, and Chinatown is pretty much plastered as a word everywhere. One of my favorites is that Halal's banners have Chinese on them, which is very interesting. So Ninth and H is pretty much the center when you get out of the metro stop, and you have the portrait gallery around there, as well as the Verizon Center, as I had mentioned. But like I said, there is some cultural things like the Asian liaison and some Chinese-owned stores and restaurants. Portrait Gallery is one of the civic buildings outside of the mall area, which has the Smithsonian place, which is very interesting. Chinese again on the Verizon Center. So, in my attempts to try to figure out where Chinatown really is and where it wasn't, I went down a series of streets going as far south as the FBI building, which actually on one side touches Pennsylvania Avenue. Um, and pretty much I'll just shut up as we go through these photos, but Turkish restaurant, Zatiniya. And the architecture is relatively more chic, kind of sleek looking, and there is this open area. Once again, even street signs are in Chinese. I'm not sure exactly what building that is, but this is more north. Fuddruckers, a corporation, a franchise, and Chopped and Radio Shack, and inside of the Gallery Place Mall itself, we have a series of cinemas and some other major places that people like to go. Full Key is a good Chinese restaurant. I recommend people go. But there are community things such as the Chinese, churches where they have events for the young who actually live there, and offices for those programs, and a series of associations that are actually Chinese. There's a historic Jewish church there on 6th and I as well. We have a residents association that's actually Chinese, and of course the infamous Chinatown bus actually runs here, and we do have Chinese people who actually run and occupy these places. So as we go deeper into these photos, and once again with that arch, that it's really this arch that kind of holds the place together. But there really is no cohesive Chinatown. There's just kind of a series of restaurants off of 7th and H. And this is a main stretch up until the arch itself. So these are some panoramas that I had made with my Macintosh. And here's the Verizon Center, which is a main spectacle inside the community itself. So, um, as you can see, a lot of it is signage that is actually Chinese. It's not really Chinatown as you'd probably think of it in other places, which is my major criticism of it. So I decided to make these sheets of where is Chinatown and what is Chinatown. So I said there, from what I can see, historically Chinatown used to look different, but there's four parts of Chinatown today in that little box. And there's the Chinese Chinatown, which we had discussed, is the restaurants and the more historical places and the areas where there seems to be, which is off H and 7th. Then you have the Chinatown Gallery Place, the place that is very commercial with a lot more eclectic architecture, and that's only on one road. You have West Chinatown, which isn't really Chinatown at all, but considered on the signs to be. And then, of course, we have the Southeast Chinatown, which is where the Verizon Center really is, and that's where the buildings get pretty big. And here's a little piece that I had written, and it's not really, you know, it doesn't exist. They maybe DC wishes it does, and they make it evident through the shallow use of Chinese signage and the arch that they had once erected. But the question at this stage is, if you build a building you know, for my project. The question was, if you built a building, should it be Chinese looking? And frankly, I didn't think so because of all the things that I put in this presentation. So that was a pictorial map from perspective view of Chinatown as I saw it on several visits. Thank you.